Do you need a glass of water?
I need Valium.
Democracy has died here.
Narrabri has become one of the first communities in Australia selected for a community solar battery program.
Really, what good will a battery do? One battery, I just can't see what. No one can answer the question.
The battery purports to be a community battery. There is zero community benefit.
All of the profits from the battery were to go back into a community fund.
The staff and all the experts have been through a process for 2 years.
The first meeting we went to when fire and rescue came over, that is when the rot started.
If you compare that to one of those battery energy storage things that's as big as caravans, you can imagine what's going to happen.
There was a couple of things that were completely made up.
How long would that exclusion zone have to be maintained?
A 200 to 500 metre exclusion zone.
You require a 200 to 500 metre exclusion zone.
So you didn't informally ask Tom Cooper to speak?
I've answered the question.
If you could just answer that one directly.
I've answered the question.
Sorry, I need a break.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is rubbish. I'm sorry.
I'm in Narrabri, a beautiful country town in northwest New South Wales. Where I'm standing in this car park, there should be a small community battery. This town was given $500,000 of federal funding to put it here, but it's in a warehouse somewhere else and not here. So I came to Narrabri to find out why.
Narrabri is known as a coal mining town, but one local group says the region has a bright future with renewables.
In 2023, a local not-for-profit won a $500,000 federal grant to install and operate a 500 kilowatt-hour community battery to take advantage of the town's plentiful rooftop solar.
In the middle of the day, we've got too much solar, so this is a small place to put some of that generation in the middle of the day, providing it back to the grid at night.
Jenny Energy spent the next 2 years working on approvals. Narrabri Council suggested they put it here in this car park as part of a planned renewable energy hub.
So council supported this project from its very instigation. When we were successful with the grant, we met with council, they developed the development application, they identified the site.
So there was unanimous support for the battery project on the last council. But after the council elections in 2024, 6 new councillors came on board. And when this project came up for the final part of the agreement, some of them weren't convinced. The pushback began in early 2025.
So we will put on a presentation.
When someone from the council invited New South Wales Fire and Rescue Zone Commander, Tom Cooper, to give a presentation on lithium batteries.
I've been asked to explain to people in fairly layman's terms what a lithium-ion battery is, what their applications are, and the risks.
Over the next 8 minutes, a greatest hits of cheap, poorly made consumer battery disasters.
You look at how quick this takes to catch up.
Amanda Brown was one of the new councillors who became worried about fire risk.
And when I left the council chambers that night, I started having a lot of doubts about the location of the battery.
And what were those doubts about? What were your concerns?
I was concerned about the location. I don't think that it's in the right spot. I don't believe it should be in the middle of our town. There's been safety concerns regarding batteries. You hear about them all the time on the news with fires and the like.
The concerns in Narrabri seem to have been driven by comparisons to fires in small lithium batteries like e-scooters and drills. But experts say it's not really a fair comparison.
The risk of a battery fire is something like 100 times less than a house fire.
This is Ian Moore. He's been doing fire risk assessments for close to 30 years.
The actual battery unit that proposed has heat detector and a smoke detector that would have power to the battery to try and mitigate the thermal runaway progressing, also a suppression system.
That's not to say fires never occur. In Australia, there have been 2 big battery fires.
A lithium Tesla battery unit ablaze.
Up in flames. It was undergoing testing when the blaze broke out.
Those were both in batteries much larger than the one proposed in Narrabri, and they were managed without injuries or major impacts.
And we know lithium-ion batteries regularly catch fire. We hear about them every week almost.
Despite this, incorrect information spread quickly. Opponents claimed the battery would burn for 7 days and shut the town down, that it would require a 200 to 500 metre exclusion zone, and that there would be zero community benefit. None of these claims were accurate.
To have a battery that burns for 7 days in the heart of our community would shut the entire community down.
It's all burning at its peak. The worst case, you might say a couple of hours. If it's burning, one battery unit within there, because there's multiple battery units. If one catches fire and then it catches another one and goes slower, it could be 24 hours or a bit more. But that's assuming it's just burning on itself and no one's putting any suppression on it or anything like that.
But it wouldn't burn for more than 7 days or 2 weeks?
Oh, no way, no. There's not enough in there to keep it going that long.
But misinformation has already started to spread, helped along by an anonymous Facebook account.
These huge batteries with poisonous chemicals can catch fire. We've all seen it happen. If they want to go renewable, then fine. Just move it somewhere where there will be no exposure to radiation or possible explosions on the daily.
Bring on nuclear power. Stop wasting money on this crap.
And there's another thing. At the March Council meeting, that's the one with the fire presentation, the Local Emergency Management Committee, or the LEMC, tables a letter. It reads,
The Narrabri Shire LEMC requests Narrabri Shire Council's intervention to ensure the community battery project proceeds only with adequate safeguards to mitigate risks outlined in the Consequence Management Guide.
We've asked both the Council and the LEMC for this document, the Consequence Management Guide. We even paid over $100 to try and get it through Freedom of Information, and we found no record of it.
So who should we be speaking to then? Because the council have essentially made their decision after the LEMC wrote that letter to council. So we really need someone from the LEMC to speak to.
We couldn't get Tom Cooper or anyone from the Local Emergency Management Committee to speak to us. But they did tell us that they didn't think the letter or Tom Cooper's presentation caused the downfall of the battery. But a month later, in the April council meeting, a motion was passed to delay the battery project for 3 months.
Let me ask you this. If this site is so ideal, why did Fire and Rescue New South Wales caution us about it at the last meeting? Why did the chair of our Local Emergency Management Committee raise the alarm?
The question of why the local fire and rescue zone commander became involved remains unanswered. But Fire and Rescue New South Wales told us in a statement that it was below the threshold required for an assessment. And in the council's own documents, they said that the intervention from the LEMC was unsolicited.
Did you ask Tom Cooper or Robert Dunn to present at that meeting, or do you know who from council asked?
There's no mechanism by which we can ask people to appear at our council meeting. It just doesn't happen.
Informally though, what we understand, what Tom
no...
Cooper told us was that he was asked and given information on the battery by council.
I've answered the question.
Okay, so you didn't informally ask Tom Cooper to speak?
I've answered the question.
If you could just answer that one directly, that would be really great.
I've answered the question.
You didn't ask Tom Cooper directly.
I've answered the question.
You could just say that I didn't. If you just said I didn't ask Tom Cooper directly, that would answer the question.
I've answered the question.
The project was sort of put on hold prior to being able to do the full risk assessment, but having a look at the proposed battery that they were going to use and the location, it would have definitely complied.
Over the next 6 months, the Narrabri Council investigated other locations on council land to potentially move the battery project to, but it couldn't find any suitable. And in October last year, the council's support for the project was officially withdrawn.
And this is why I'm getting frustrated. You are being, and the ABC, your charter is all about being fair. You are trying to make out that this is about misinformation. This is not about misinformation, this is about lack of information.
The Mayor argues that concerns about the community battery are not misinformation, as they stem from widely reported incidents involving smaller lithium-ion devices, such as e-scooters and drills.
People hear the word lithium battery, and it's not up to us as council to suddenly go, but these are not quite as bad as the other ones. We were just confronted and peppered with questions from people saying, what is this? We knew nothing about it. And secondly, why are you putting it right in the middle of our town? Why are you putting this big lithium battery right in the middle of our town when it should be somewhere else?
So I do know they managed to get a front page article in the newspaper about the project. So particularly for councillors to say they didn't know about the project, I call bullshit.
Community engagement. To be fair, it didn't really seem like they were trying to keep a low profile here. At one point, Jenny Energy wheeled a fake life-size version of the battery down the main street.
I think what we're seeing with renewables is probably more of a polarised situation in terms of the people who are for and against ideologically. Now, as community engagement specialists, what we're trying to do is ideally work with people to try and reduce some of that outrage, just so that people can work with us and try and understand some of the facts and the things around that.
It's not the end of the road for this battery. Sally Hunter and her team are hoping they can find a new location on private land. But it means they have to start this whole process from scratch. And in the meantime, the battery will continue to gather dust.
All right, thanks so much for that, Kyla. Really appreciate you setting all that up.
It's a small town saga, one of many unfolding across Australia as the clean energy transition collides with fear and misinformation. This tiny community battery shows how even the smallest project can become a battleground over trust.